Hi, my name is Robert Chelle with Chelle Law, and my law firm assists dental associates with employment contract issues. Today I'm going to talk about how to get out of a contract by a dental associate. So let's say you've signed an agreement and for whatever reason you decide, this is not working out, I want to move on. How do you get out of the contract? So I guess there's two ways of thinking about this. One, to get out of a contract, it's pretty easy. Every contract is going to have language about how to terminate the agreement. And so in my mind, terminating the agreement is kind of the same as getting out of a contract. So I'm going to walk through the normal way to terminate an agreement. And then I think I'll also talk about what happens if you've signed an agreement and you don't want to go through with it. I think that might be, what people are thinking about when they say, can I get out of a contract? Meaning I haven't started yet, but I've signed, what are the issues that can come about from that? So let's just give a brief description about how to terminate a contract, and then I'll get into the second part last. So in any employment agreement, it's going to state the term of the agreement, meaning how long it is, and then the termination part. And there's generally four ways to terminate a contract. One, if it's just a fixed term, so let's just say it's a 2-year contract and there's no language that states it automatically renews. At the end of the 2 years, if neither party has renegotiated anything, then it just ends, contract terminates, that's it. You can also mutually agree to terminate the agreement. Maybe it's just not working out. It's not a good personality fit. Both parties can say, you know what, let's just move on. The third way would be with cause termination. So in every contract, it's going to state how the employer can get rid of the employee, and then what are the reasons. And then most of them don't, but some of them will have a brief section about the things an employee, so the dental associate, can terminate the employer for. But in any contract, it's going to state if either party thinks the other's in breach of contract. So let's just say the dental associate has some kind of productivity compensation. They've earned the bonuses, but they're not being paid the bonuses either on time or at all. They will send written notice to the employer stating you're in breach of contract. And then usually there's like a 15 to 30 day window. It's called a cure period for the breaching party to fix the breach, to cure it. And then if it is fixed, then the party can no longer terminate the contract for cause. So that goes both ways. If maybe the dental associate isn't, taking call like they said they would or something like that, the employer can state, you're in breach of contract, you need to fix this. So the third way is to terminate it for cause. Then the last way, and the most common way, is without cause termination. So every contract will have some kind of section that states the contract can be terminated at any time for any reason with a certain amount of notice to the other party. Usually it's somewhere between 60 to 90 days for most dental associates. And so let's just say you found a new job that's better, you want to move on, you just give them written notice and then work out those, let's say it's a 60-day notice, work out those 60 days, contract ends, you can move on. Now, a couple of things you need to think about in that scenario. The restrictive covenants are going to continue after the contract ends. So the non-compete, the non-solicit. Also need to think about who's going to pay for tail insurance if you have a claims-made policy. Are you going to have to repay any bonuses if you left early? And then also, if you're on some kind of like hybrid productivity model, are you going to get paid all of the bonuses that you've earned? Those are things to think about kind of after the contract terminates. Now, the other way would be if you signed a contract and then decided not to go through with it. This one's more of a gray area. Some contracts will explicitly state if you sign the agreement and then decide not to go through with it, here are the penalties. So maybe they would have a set fee. So like you owe us $20,000 if you sign and don't start, or you owe us the recruitment costs and credentialing fees and any licensure stuff that we've already paid out for you. Most of them honestly don't have that. So if you are in a scenario where you've signed but don't want to go forward, I find it's best just to be completely honest with the employer and just say, look, these are the reasons why I signed the agreement, but things have changed. So it could have been, maybe a family illness, or you decided to pursue additional training, or whatever. I mean, maybe you got a better job offer, although telling the employer that's probably not, they're not going to be too keen on hearing something like that. But if you can just give them like a reasonable, I don't know if excuse is the right word, but just kind of these are the reasons why I don't want to go through with the contract. Most employers are okay with that without the dental associate having to pay anything. Now, the longer amount of notice you give, the better. I mean, if you call the employer a day before you're supposed to start and say, I'm not going to start unless you have some kind of extraordinary excuse, they're not going to be okay with that, and they'll likely or probably come after you for some amount of money. So you want to give as much time as possible, as much notice as possible if you're not going to start, and then a reasonable explanation why you're not going to start. I would never suggest entering into a contract or starting a job that you're just absolutely, don't want to. It's a position that you don't want to be in. Maybe it's you just had a much better compensation offer from someone else, or it's just maybe there's a buy-in opportunity. Whatever it is, it's better to deal with the consequences before you start a job than to start and then leave, a month later. You don't want to burn bridges if possible. So providing a reasonable explanation and proper notice is kind of the best way of handling that. But you are potentially open to some kind of liability if you've signed the agreement. Maybe they've paid out a signing bonus or relocation assistance, or as I said before, credentialing fees, licensure, stuff like that. Those are things that they've paid for that the dental associate will likely have to pay back at some point. So that's kind of how you get out of a dental associate employment contract. If you have any questions about your employment agreement, you can always call my law firm at the phone number listed below in the description, or you can reach us through our website, chellelaw.com. All right, thanks. Bye.